Hello. Today I want to talk comparison between DSLR camera and mirrorless camera. First point. We see the size between these two cameras. Mirrorless cameras are typically much smaller and lighter due to the absence of a flip-up mirror. Its lenses are smaller too, so you can fit several in your bag when previously you could fit only one. DSLR camera bodies are comparatively larger, as they need to fit in the mirror and prism. Image quality. Both cameras are capable of high-quality images, with similar resolutions and noise. Focusing system. DSLR's traditional phase detection means it is always a popular choice for shooting sports, wildlife and action photography, especially when the subject's movement is unpredictable and swift. The EOS M3 has upped the game with its sensor that combines phase and contrast detection for better focus, even with low light and erratic movement. Battery life. DSLRs are capable of up to 1,000 shots or more on a single battery charge, as no power is used if you hold the camera up and look through the viewfinder. Because mirrorless cameras operate in live view mode, battery consumption increases and you generally get a couple hundred shots on a single battery charge. By the way, before we go to next point, please don't forget to subscribe this channel. Viewfinder. If you look through a DSLR viewfinder and adjust settings like ISO, aperture, and shutter speed, you might notice the image in the viewfinder doesn't change. Mirrorless cameras feature electronic viewfinders that display a more accurate representation of what your final image will look like, removing some of the guesswork with your camera settings. Autofocus. DSLRs use separate dedicated phase detection autofocus sensors mounted behind and below the mirror for viewfinder shooting, but switch to on-sensor autofocus for a live view on the rear screen. Mirrorless cameras use the main sensor alone for autofocus, both for viewfinder shooting and live view on the rear screen. Shutter noise. With no mirror, there's no mirror slap that you get with DSLRs. All you hear is the click of the shutter mechanism, and this sound can often be customized. Several mirrorless cameras even offer completely silent shooting, which is a game changer for wedding photographers, or those who need to operate in complete silence. Many DSLRs have a silent shooting feature, which separates the sound of the shutter from the mirror flap, with the mirror flipping down slowly once your finger is removed. Shutter speeds. In a DSLR, your frames per second, the rate you can capture images per second, are limited by the speed of the mirror's movement. In general, only higher-end DSLRs offer fast continuous shooting shutter speeds of over 10 fps. With mirrorless cameras, some entry-level bodies such as the sub-$500 Sony a6000 offer 11 fps. However, other brands' entry-level mirrorless models are mostly more expensive. High-end DSLRs like the Nikon D5 may be able to offer incredible frame rates, but it's also much more expensive than a Fujifilm X-T4 and Sony A9, for example, which offer a frankly ludicrous 20 fps. Of course, buffer speeds must also be taken into consideration. The ability for the camera to process and store the image before the photographer can take the next one, but in general, if you need to shoot fast-moving action, a mirrorless camera is the way to go. Final words. At the end of the day, both DSLR and mirrorless cameras can produce stellar images. Many amateur and professionals still use and purchase DSLRs, and have no intention of switching to the mirrorless format. Similarly, many have ditched DSLRs, invested in the mirrorless system, and would never go back to DSLR, or have perhaps never even used a DSLR. I hope this guide has been useful to you. Leave a comment below with the type of camera you use, and why you chose it. Thanks for watching and don't forget to subscribe.